It's time to start killing rust on the Hardbody. Originally, my plan was to order just a bunch of new sheet metal panels because you can find reproduction ones for pretty cheap on sites like Rock Auto and Parts Geek and stuff. And then I realized that even just for the two front fenders, shipping them to where I live is $500. So I'm not doing that. Fuck that. So now my plan is to repair these panels, and you can see I've got some work ahead of me. This is the worst panel. This is the worst fender. It's not the worst panel on the car, sadly. But you can see here, bunch of rust up there. It's gone. A bunch of rust down there. I can fix that. I've fixed worse than that. I'm a lot more comfortable welding fenders back together than, you know, trying to fiberglass fucking plastic body panels back together like I was with my CRX. You can see over here, same kind of deal, but not as bad. A little bit of rust up there, a little bit of rust down there. That one should be an easy fix. Some rust up there. There's this piece here that connects the bottom of the two fenders and runs all the way along the bottom of the bumper. It's not vital, so I'll try to repair it, but there's a good chance I might just scrap it and, I don't know, come up with something different to go there, because that's one of the rustiest parts of the whole car. The actual rustiest part of the whole car is this rocker panel here. You can see giant hole, It's garbage. I've fixed rockers before. That's always the first thing to go around here. Because it just builds up snow in the wintertime and just gets eaten away. So yeah, that's probably what this part of the video is going to be, is mostly a bunch of rust fixing. I also have to fix some holes in the frame rail. Some holes there that I'd rather not, you know, break and kill me. Same thing on the other side. Some holes right there. That's dangerous. Like, I'm completely taking this truck off the road for about a month just because that's dangerous. I don't want to die. Other things I've got planned. I've got actual lights, like trailer lights that you put in the metal, you know, so I can get rid of my ghetto ass bungee cord the factory taillights to the bed type deal. I'll probably just inset them straight in the back of the bed. Should look pretty good. And yeah, but as for the only stuff I've done since the last part of the video is I bent the shifter. As you can see, usually the shifter sits way up here, but I bent it back so the driving position's a bit more comfortable. And yeah, I did the front wheel bearings and a brake job, just some maintenance stuff. Yeah, I got a set of wheels coming today too. I got some 16x8 Steelies. They should look pretty good, so I can get rid of the factory Steelies, which I still like. I'll probably keep those for the winter, but yeah, so that's the plan. So the front end's all taken apart. As you can see, it's actually pretty good underneath in the inner fenders where the panels used to be. There's a bit of rust I still got to fix on the front end, like right down in these corners here, but that's all surface stuff. The metal's solid. Yeah, so I got the fenders here. That's the first thing I'm gonna fix. It'll be a job, but I think I can get them looking pretty factory. Given how much just good metal there still is to build off of. Like this piece here, this was the piece that went underneath that connected the two front fenders, is never going back on this truck. It's Swiss cheese, and there's, you know, I'd have to cut a foot off of each end of that thing to fix that, and I'm not doing that. So if I can find a better one at a junkyard, good for me, but if not, I don't really care that I don't have that part. You can see the other side, still pretty rust-free. the passenger side panel is de-rustified. This one's white. That's because the old passenger side panel was pretty much unrepairable. Like, I could have repaired that, but like once I started digging in there, there was so much more rust than it looks like on the surface. But I found this white one at a junkyard. I couldn't find a driver's side from this truck because it was crashed on that side. So I only have, this panel was way better. I still had to repair rust down there. That's all new metal. Here is all new metal. And down there is all new metal. And it's far from perfect, but it'll pass. This still needs a bit of Bondo, just to fill a couple little low spots and stuff like that. Like this big piece of metal, when I welded it in, it warped a little bit, so there's some high spots and some low spots there. But other than that, the driver's side is done. Now I got to do the passenger side, which is better than that panel, but still worse than that panel. So this one should be a challenge as well. But hopefully I can handle it. Also, while I was at it, I rolled my guards on this panel. So I got all the new metal welded in on the other fender. I'll show you the other side later. Right now the primer on the back is just drying. Right now what I'm working on is the wiring for the tail lights. Basically how it's going to work is there's going to be 2 of these on each side. This is just a dual filament trailer light. So it's got 2 levels of brightness. So there's going to be 2 of these on each side. The outermost one is going to be a running light and a signal light, and the inner one's going to be a running light and a brake light. And yeah, pretty much all I had to do to modify the wiring. I didn't really have to do much to modify the wiring from the factory tail light. The factory tail light goes signal light, and then a dual filament brake light / running light, and then a single running light, and then a reverse light. And all I had to do was turn that into, I got a signal light / running light here, brake light / running light here, and the reverse light here. So I just got to do that to the other side, and then mount the tail lights in the back of the bed, and then wire them up. And then I've got tail lights to make me look like slightly less white trash. So here's where I'm at. I just finished welding up all the rust holes in the frame. See right there. Right here and right there. That was the 3 worst areas. This one I kind of went try hard on, and I ground it down and everything. The other ones I just left and painted over. In the future, I want to treat the whole back end of the frame with POR 15 or something, just so it stops rusting. But right now it is at least structurally sound. And now I'm actually on a bit of a time crunch to get the truck back on the road, so it's not gonna snap in half and kill me anymore. It's still rusty, but it's not dangerous anymore. Pretty much what I went through the entire back end of the frame, just smacking it with a hammer, and then anywhere it gave, I just replaced. I also replaced a couple inner, I don't even know if you can see that on camera, but inner support areas with angle iron, just to, you know, make sure the truck doesn't snap in half and kill me. And I also got both of the front fenders bondoed. I still need to sand that down and then throw some primer over it. But yeah, I need to have the truck back on the road tomorrow, so I gotta finish doing the taillights, put the bed back on, at least get some primer on there, and get the front end put all back together. So this is where I'm at with the truck right now. You can see I got the bed back on, got my brake lights mounted. Signal lights work, brakes work, running lights work, all the wiring's good, no problems with those. I do still need to put my reverse lights in. You can see there's this wire dangling on both sides there. That's what that's for. I really just need to buy something to use as a reverse light and put it on there. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Also, now that the wiring for the stock taillights doesn't need to come through the bed there, I can put that center plank back in. But I need to cut it to size, and my table saw broke, so I'll have to figure out something to do there. But patch the front fenders. Right now that's just red off-the-shelf primer. It's a decent color match, but it obviously isn't the right color. I need to paint it, but before I paint it, I need to Bondo it because you can't really tell, but it's really uneven right above the wheel, which you can't tell with a matte primer, but you would tell with a gloss paint job. And what I'm doing right now is I am painting my wheels. I've had these wheels for about a month now, but I've never done anything with them because I didn't have tires for them. But now I have tires, so it's time for these to go on the truck. These are 16 by 8 off-road steely. I bought them because they got good dish on them, and they got the right bolt pattern. I think they came off a Jeep or something. The guy who sold them to me had big off-road tires on them. And you can see they're total off-road steelies. They've got these stripes here that off-road guys love. But I'm not putting off-road tires on them. I'm putting I bought these tires on the cheap. They're Nokian all-weather 205 50 R16s, I think. They're not like a really nice tire or anything, but they fit and they were cheap. And that is the only two things I was looking for in a tire. So I'm painting them white because I've never really been a fan of black rims, and also these ones are pretty nicked up. They need some treatment here, so I figure if I gotta redo them, I might as well redo them in a color I like better. Wheels all cleaned up and sanded and good for paint. This is a paint I use. I've used it on a few different sets of wheels before. It's just this generic contractor grade spray paint. It's really cheap. It's like $2.50 a can. I find that when I paint wheels, I always go with a cheap paint and then a really expensive clear coat. So this is the clear coat I use. It's Duplicolor Wheel Gloss. Duplicolor Wheel Gloss. That's what it's called. And I don't know. This is the best stuff of all time. Like, I never find I need to wet sand it or anything. You just spray it on, and if you spray it on right, it'll be perfectly glossy. It's really good. I'm not getting paid to say that, but I would like to be. So the rims are now painted and clear coated. They turned out pretty good. I'm happy with them. There's a couple runs some places and little stuff like that, but I can always wet sand those out later. Right now I'm just about to take them over to a buddy's house who has a tire machine and get them mounted up, get them balanced, and put on the truck. So I've got the wheels done. They're all, they got tires and they're all mounted up, good to go. You see they're kind of dirty right now because I've been driving on them for about a week. But, yeah, I think it looks pretty good. The new wheels are a slightly smaller diameter than the old ones, so I think I gotta lower the truck a bit more, just to make them look better. Right now there's quite a bit of wheel gap. But I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. What I'm doing right now is I got all the metal I need to make a headache rack and some fenders for the back. The fender metal I sent with a friend of mine who's gonna bend it on his sheet metal brake at work, but the headache rack stuff I've got with me, so that's my project for today. So I got the headache rack all cut and welded up here. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I still need to grind down the welds and paint the whole thing. The welds are really, really bad because I lost the trigger for my welder. So I did jerry-rig it in a way where I could still use it, but I had to physically flip the switch on the welder anytime I wanted the wire to feed. So all the welds turned out really shitty, but I can grind them down. It's no big deal. So I got a couple days off here. So right now what I'm doing is I'm kind of cleaning my garage because it's a dump right now. It's full of old tires and just a bunch of shit because I haven't cleaned it in about 2 years. But also, I got my fenders back from my buddy who was bending them on the sheet metal brake. And this is why I need fenders. Some people are always asking me when I'm going to put fenders on it because they don't like the exposed wheel cutouts like that. Other people like the exposed wheel cutouts and don't want me to put fenders on it, but I washed this thing yesterday, and this is already what it's like. There's just mud everywhere. It splatters all over the back window and all over the wood, and it just needs to be done. It's only a matter of time before I throw a rock at my own back window, and then I got to go fix my back window, and I don't want to do that. So got the fenders. They sit on it like so. And it looks like that, and obviously they'll get painted, but I think it's going to look pretty good. So I got the over fenders done. Well, not quite done. As you can see, they're done and they're welded on, but I still didn't get the back side of them done. I'm not too worried about that. I'm in no rush to do that. You can see there's already bird shit on it. It's been a couple weeks since I finished this. I just haven't turned on the camera in a while. So I got to paint them black on the top side. The bottom side I used black asphalt undercoating. Yeah, they turned out pretty good. They don't fling rocks at my back window anymore, and I like the way they look. I also put a fart can on the car. Just don't judge me on that one. I'm just gonna request amnesty. I just wanted a bit more sound. But I think I'm gonna end this part here. I still haven't got the headache rack done, but I'll save that for the next update just because I'm not gonna finish it for a little while still.